Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I got to chat with actor Jared Scott. He's currently playing Forrest on the Facebook Watch series TURNT. We talk about his role on the show, the time he auditioned for The Price is Right, and much more. Enjoy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man, I really appreciate you making the time today. Thanks so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate you interviewing me.
You're starring on TURNT right now on Facebook Watch.
hmm
Can you talk to me a little bit about auditioning for that and the production of that show?
Yeah, so auditioning was one of the weirder experiences I've had in the entertainment industry. So basically, I got the request to do a self-tape. I forget what day, but it was basically a self-tape is when you shoot your own audition and you send it in to the casting director. And so that at that time, I didn't even have a reader. So basically, I was saying the lines in the thin air, pausing and having the other person say the lines in my head and then saying it back. So I was just talking to myself in my own apartment doing this self-tape. And yeah, and then I sent the self-tape off to Kelly Knox, the casting director. And then I think it was the next day I heard that I got a call back. And so then the next day I had to go in for the call back, which was basically we would go to this casting office area, and we read with a few different actors reading for other roles and stuff. And Will Slocum, the director, and Kelly, the casting director, were both there. And so I did the audition. I left the audition kicking myself because I think I did a terrible job. And then the next day, I got a call from my agents and managers saying how I booked the job and that it was a Facebook job. And I had no idea it was a Facebook thing. It just said web series or something. I had no idea it was actual Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I literally jumped into the air, jumped in with joy when I heard that. And then the next day we had the table read, and then the next day we were shooting. So it's
Wow.
a really quick process.
Yeah, that came about fast. So tell me a little bit about Forrest and your role in the dynamic of the show.
So Forrest, hashtag Team Forrest. Forrest is what I like to call, he's sort of the lovable dum-dum of the show. He may look like sort of a stereotypical jock on the surface. He hits on all the girls, but what's cool is that underneath, he's probably one of the sweetest, most caring, best friends in the show. I don't want to spoil anything, but when Gabe goes through some tough times, his best friend, he's one of the few characters who actually supports him through that time. And so I think it's a cool dynamic on the typical jock role we see in all these different kind of shows.
Now, you've been on like Brace, the series, but you've done a lot of standalone either shorts or movies as well. Has it been fun getting to embody one character for a length of time and then kind of feel this arc across several episodes?
I think it's been fun because usually with movies you shoot for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, or even a week sometimes, and you're basically done and it's done and done. Whereas TURNT, we shot for about 4.5 months. And so it's really interesting because after a while, Forrest just came easily to me. I didn't have to put in as much work, I'd say. I mean, I still put in work, but being Forrest just came to me a lot easier. It didn't feel forced or anything. And by that time, since it came to me so easily, I could really have fun and explore the scenes and his life a little bit more than I would if I only got a week to work on a week project or something like that. And so it's been really fun to have Forrest for those few months.
Can you tell me a little bit about when you got the bug for acting, or how you got to make that jump between I think I might want to do this, I think I might be in a school play, versus all of the work that you now know goes into a professional acting career?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I've always been sort of the artsy fartsy one of my family. Out of my two brothers, I've always been sort of an animated person where always wanted to entertain and stuff like that. And acting wasn't really an outlet for me until in my teens. At first, it was more drawing and guitar, and I actually went to school for a bit for animation and visual effects, and so that was my creative outlet for a little, where I was making cartoons and doing these visual effects kind of shots and movies and stuff. And it wasn't until is my fresh, or, yeah, I was, yeah. So there was a Price is Right male modeling contest that popped up, and my mom actually texted me saying, "Hey, you should check this out," because I was just getting into the local Pittsburgh modeling thing. I was trying to make some money doing that. And so what you had to do for that contest was submit an audition tape of just you doing the Price is Right thing, just announcing and modeling random things. And so I sent in that tape, and the next week I got a call from a Los Angeles producer of the show saying, "Hey, we're going to fly you out for the contest." And I was one of the youngest contestants. And basically, we had to go through all these different challenges where you model a hot tub, a car, or get an interview with one of the celebrity interviewers. And then I think I made it to the top 5 out of all the nationwide modeling contests. I was the youngest in the contest by far. And the last challenge was to do an acting scene with one of the young and restless stars, because a lot of the Price is Right models go to one of the soaps. And so I had never acted at that point, and I tried to do the scene, and I completely bombed. I had no idea what I was doing. And so at that point, it sort of lit a spark in me to get better. And I went back to Pittsburgh, and I took some acting classes and met some people, got in some films and stuff like that. And I just fell in love with it. And then I realized if I wanted to really take this seriously, I had to move to where the entertainment industry is and go to Los Angeles. And so I moved to Los Angeles, and that's where it really started to kick off.
I've got to ask, what was the trickiest product to model?
Well, it was actually not one product. It was 3 products. Is the showcase in the show, how they have the big grand finale with all like 4 different prizes or whatever. Yeah. I think that was the hardest, because one that you had to announce reading off of whatever the cards are, whatever those are called. I forget what they're called. With the guy holding them behind the cue cards, I think they are. The guy standing behind the camera, and my eyes weren't very good at that point, so I was squinting, trying to read from the cards, trying to model. I think it was a vacation, a truck, and a boat. And at the boat, they wanted us to take our shirts off, and so we had to do all these different things. And somehow I eked my way through it and made it to the next round. So I don't know how I did it, but I survived.
Oh man, that's great. In your acting classes, taking the time before going back to LA, or going off to LA, was there any particular bit of advice that really struck you as really a turning point, or helped you build that confidence?
I don't think there was one piece of advice that really hit me. But one thing I heard people say over and over, which sort of helped my confidence, because I've only been to LA once, and that was for the contest for the Price is Right thing. And that thing was, they kept saying I had a look. I mean, I didn't know at that point what it meant. I guess it was a good thing, but they kept saying I had a look. So I was like, okay, if I can get half decent at acting, I'll have a look. And maybe that way I can sort of break in. But I think with acting, I don't think there's really one piece of advice. You know what? There is one piece of advice that really sticks with me, but I didn't hear it until I went to LA. That is, when you're auditioning, you're not trying to get it right for the casting director. You're offering your take on the character and the scene to try and help them. So you're the person who has the power in the room, not the casting director. And that's sort of, I felt that, because before I started booking, I just come in needy and try, is this right? And the casting directors feel that.
Yeah.
And so that was the one thing that really stuck with me, that you're the one, own your power and go in there and have fun. That was the big thing.
Yeah, that's a really neat, subtle changing the way to think about that. Yeah.
Hmm.
I know you've got also you're in The Wrong Friend alongside Vivica A. Fox. Can you talk a bit about making that, getting to work with her?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was actually my second movie with her. The first movie I did was The Christmas Cruise, and that was one of my first roles in Los Angeles, where I played her goofy kind of assistant. And then for this movie, I play a really dark, malevolent guy, which was a lot of fun because when I approach a character, I don't look at the character. I sort of look at myself, and I see what parts of myself can connect to that person, or what ways I'm similar. And so I had to really dig into these deep, dark areas of my being and see how I could relate to this sociopathic guy. And working with Vivica A. Fox was really fun. She's a really professional person to work with. We just go in there, get it done, and it's all about the work, which is great. It's not about the socializing or anything like that. It's all about let's get it done and do it. Let's have fun doing it. So it was a lot of fun working with her as well. And speaking of short shoots, we actually shot The Wrong Friend in about 6 days.
Oh, wow.
Compared to TURNT, which was 4.5. Yeah. So we had a quick shoot. I remember the last day of shooting, I had to do 14 scenes total. So it was a fun but sometimes stressful shoot.
Yeah. You've got to hit your marks and be on time. There's just no space to waste. Well, the couple episodes I've got to see of TURNT are fun, and I'm digging it so far, and I'm hoping that everybody will go check it out. Facebook Watch being a relatively new platform, but I think at this point, I mean, everybody's on board with TV coming from wherever TV comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a film festival this past week, and half the stuff is on Netflix, and I have no idea where the line is between TV and movies at this point.
Yeah, I haven't had cable in a long time. All my movie watching is on Netflix and all the Amazon Prime and Hulu, all these different streaming platforms. And I really love streaming platforms because they're delivering some of the best content out there. Their content rivals Oscar-winning movies in terms of storytelling, even if they're with shows and everything.
Yeah. And they can break.
And you can watch it whenever.
That's the other thing. I never want I never want to be on TV schedule anymore. I want TV on my schedule.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making the time to talk to me today, Jared. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Have a great rest of your day, man.
You too.
Bye.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TVDudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.